Hello everyone, it's Glenda here from Top Notch Legal, and I'm back with a legal tip. And today it's all about having a written agreement and making modifications orally or verbally. Now, generally, this can be a very complex area, and it's really important that you get it right. Otherwise, you could end up in disputes. Now, we've got to remember that written contracts serve as legally binding agreements. They outline the parties' rights and obligations, and there's clarity and certainty by writing the terms down. So each party knows where they stand, and the whole point is not only to know your obligations, but to ensure that each party follows those and there's no disagreement about what the obligations are. Now, quite often, written contracts will say that they can only be modified by another agreement in writing. So you would expect that if parties change the terms orally, that wouldn't be enforceable because the written contract says that they can only be enforceable if they're in writing. The sad fact, I think it's a sad fact really, that in Australia the courts don't follow that principle. They do follow that in the UK, but here in Australia the courts say that there is an overriding common law principle that says the parties must always have freedom of contract or autonomy to contract as they please, and that means they can't bind themselves to only make modifications in writing. So those provisions actually don't have really any real effect in Australia. So if you've got a written agreement that says it can only be modified in writing, that's not necessarily the truth. And you could find yourself caught by modifications that are just oral or verbal. And of course, the danger with that is that they're not necessarily certain. They're not written down. So there might be nuances that where the parties just misunderstand each other. And this can lead to disputes. And to resolve disputes can be stressful and very expensive. And you want to avoid this. So the best way to avoid it is, first of all, check the agreement to see what modifications can be made. And I'm not talking about whether they're in writing or not, but what the terms of the contract say. And then I would suggest that you contact your commercial lawyer and get them to draw up a variation of contract. I can assure you this will be miles cheaper than the possibility of ending up in a dispute that then has to be resolved. Could even end up in litigation, which is very expensive. So if you find you're in the situation where you've got a written agreement and you want to modify it and you want some help, by all means, reach out to us. You can reach us on glendad@topnotchlegal.com.au. That's it for today. Bye now.